Each day increasingly dangerous hurricanes, wildfires, and floods betray the influence of climate change. We are appalled at the accruing losses of life and property. The arguments to address climate change at the recent UN Climate Conference in Bonn focused most often on these more concrete risks. However, the worst effects of climate change will come not from severe weather but from the irreversible loss of species and ecosystems. Molded over millions of years by natural selection, the diversity of species on Earth does more than just inspire awe. They are technical marvels and solutions to problems we do not yet know exist. Scientific evidence now suggests that the Earth has embarked on its sixth extinction crisis, on a par with those executed by extraterrestrial asteroids and geologic upheavals. But this time we are at fault. Most current extinctions ensue from land use and overexploitatio, but climate change is now catching up and accelerating these risks. A couple of years ago I began obsessively scanning thousands of scientific papers for extinctions predicted from climate change. I collected more than 500,000 predictions including plants and animals from 7 continents and the ocean. Surprisingly, I found that species extinctions would not just increase with global warming, but speed up in a rising arc. If we continue emitting current levels of greenhouse gases, climate change could threaten 16% of species, more than 1 million by 2100. Rising heat is pushing peakers to the top of the mountain, where they have nowhere else to go. They can't climb sky. Look out of your window and count 6 species. Now imagine one is gone forever. We risk losing common, backyard species like the salt marsh sparrow. About 50,000 of these yellow-cheeked birds nest precariously above normal high tides along the east coast of the US. Scientists predict that climate-amplified tides will wipe this bird off the salt marsh and the earth in a few decades. We are already losing the American pika, a rabbit-like creature adapted to life on western North American mountaintops. Even mild temperatures at mid-20 degrees Celsius, mid-70 degrees Fahrenheit, transform its alpine coat into a hairy death suit. Rising heat is pushing peakers to the top of the mountain, where they have nowhere else to go. They can't climb sky. We have just lost the bramble key melomys. This beach rat lived on an Australian coral key surrounded by the rising seas of climate change. Last year, scientists mounted a rescue mission, but found nothing but a storm-swept island. As more and more species are threatened, we risk losing Earth's greatest resource, the library of natural selection. By encoding millions of years of the answers to nature's travails, biodiversity gives us the drugs in our medicine cabinet, the tools in our intellectual workshop, and solutions to the world's present and future problems. We are burning the greatest books on earth before we have read them. The human race is capable of great things, and no greater task lies ahead of us than protecting the greatest diversity of life in the universe. First, the US must recommit to the Paris Climate Agreement and keep the Earth from heating beyond 2 degrees Celsius.